Shalom, shalom, Israel. Just doing another quick video, and I'll get into some other topics next video. I'm kind of doing feedback on the video I just made regarding women. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, great millstone, much salutations to the brothers, teaching word for the hopeful elect. Soon to be the elect, to contrite spirits returning back to the most high blessings. We continue to exalt those names. Yahweh, He is the be. Yahweh Shai, He that delivers, He that saves. And we always say in the Holy Spirit, So I'm going to probably name this Women Rather Be a Dyke, a Woman Rather Be a Dyke than Be with an Ike. Talking about Ike Turner, old school musician. And everybody knows about him because of the controversy with he and his wife, Tina Turner, which is another known singer, celebrity. Them as a couple had been in a band and they broke up. But he got a lot of talk against him for the way he treated Tina. Now, related to the scriptures, of course. Now, this is he and his wife, and she's always happy. By the way, I mean, she's living her dream. She's she's singing a celebrity. Even on this picture, she's smiling. And women always look at it as control. Here's another picture. So she's, and it depends on what kind of world you want to live in too, what kind of lifestyle you want. But she looks happy in every picture. So they talking about she got abused and all that. Maybe one incident happened, and they blew it out of proportion. Of course, they always target the so-called black man and take things out of proportion. Now, a similar thing happened with a more recent couple. They call them power couples, celebrity couples. Then this old school couple right here, which was Chris Brown and Rihanna. And, Chris Brown received some talk, but overall, them women still love him because he's a celebrity. That's what women love, celebrities. And if you with a woman and you're not celebrity status, she's looking for a celebrity. You have to have the, means of money like a celebrity, a certain kind of look, style, fashion about you. That's what makes a man stand out today according to these women. It has nothing to do with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But the Most High is going to make it knowledge, wisdom, understanding, the stability of the times, like it says Isaiah 33:6. But as you see, she was always smiling, so I don't even believe that BS, And I did look up the word dyke. Let me see. It says dyke is as a noun meaning lesbian. It originated as a homophobic slur for masculine butch or androgynous girls or women. Pejorative use of the word still exists, but the term dyke has been reappropriated by many lesbians to imply assertiveness and toughness. For example, Dykes on Bikes, motorcycle club. So, I guess they would be today more on the heavy side, more haircut like men, but it's a lot of women with haircuts like men today. There are feminine, there are still women, still have husbands and all that. But that is that term. And when a man's out in public with a woman, uh, and it's not nowhere near how it used to be in the ancient world. Going back to our customs. Here she is also, and so they like to dress and show their skin and their breast and makeup. They all into that shit, man. But you got men starting to do that shit. But even I saw this picture on Instagram. Now here she is with, pretty much showing her skin, but she's with a so-called picture with a so-called white man, and that's what they want to do. They want to be free, you know, to live their lives how they want to. They want everybody looking at their curves. They don't want to be controlled, you know. They don't want to. And the thing is, when they're married to a man, I mean, they would still expect the same thing, certain kind of freedom, to do whatever they want to, and that's not at all biblical. Uh, Now I looked up this scripture right here, Exodus 20:5. It says, "Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them." Talking about other gods. Getting to the point, for I, the Lord, thy power, am a jealous. I'll read it verbatim. I, the Lord, thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children of the third, fourth generation of them that hate me. Jealous is the key word here. A man has a right to be jealous, just like the Most High is jealous. We jealous. Anybody looking at our women and our women out there showing their asses, and everybody's admiring them and all that, for something that's supposed to be just for you, you're going to be jealous. It says jealousy, that's another scripture. Jealousy is the rage of a man. Here's another, Exodus 34:14. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, and that's kind of like a title for him because his name is Yahweh. He is, and his son Yahweh Shai is a jealous power. And I'll get that word jealous. So when they worship the fame of other men's attention, or the fame itself, fans and all that, we get jealous. Now, not particularly us, because we're not their husbands. I mean, all these women so-called out there single, and even in the celebrity world. But even when it comes to them not acknowledging the truth, there's a certain level of jealousy, because they are people. They supposed to be fashioned after the image of the Most High through Yahweh Shai, through us. So you got people like Tracy. I don't know if she's a brothers say she's a Jake. Some say she's not. She got so-called white father. I don't know what she is, but she's a decent looking woman, and she looked like a so-called black woman. And Vivica Fox and all them ones that have troubled relationships, and running away from the situation of their marriage with their men, and for really no reason at all. I mean, except they felt like, well, usually the man, they claim that he's cheating, but they don't even understand, and they never will understand until we're in the kingdom, or until the Jacob's trouble come, that they will never understand we can have more than one woman. Now I even asked AI, how many women there were in America alone. Alexa, how many women are there in America?
In 2016, the female population of the United States was 162 million.
That's a lot of women, man. So, there's never any time that women are not out there. But a lot of them are single. A lot of them really don't come out anymore because the way of the world has gotten worse. Maybe they, believe, or, it's proven in somewhat way that, women are experiencing more abuse toward them today. Relationships are more dangerous today, which, I believe is the case too. I mean, Most High said that love of many shall wax cold. But they still run from the authority factor. It's plain that it says plainly in the scriptures the order Most High wants Israel to be in, starting with, of course, He has the power. He is Yahweh, His Son Yahweh Shai, man and woman, and tells you that in Corinthians. So if they were deeply into church, so-called, because the churches are going off, they're foul. But if they really believed in the Bible like they say they do, they would acknowledge those scriptures pertaining to the order. So jealous. Let me get that right quick.
Strong's H,
Quana.
7067. Cana.
And that's Quana. Only of God, jealous. You can even see it in the etymology. Come on, man. So if you have a man and he'd be like, I don't want you to wear that because I don't want people looking at you. I don't want you showing your goods. And then, they call it an insecure, toxic masculinity. But nah, Most High is a jealous power. We're jealous like the Most High. Because what it says, Jeremiah 3, I think it's 3 and 16, that we're married into the Most High. 3 and 14 maybe. We're married into the Most High. So he's a jealous power when we worship these other gods, entities, and so forth. When we have pleasure in the world more than pleasing Him. You can have fun in the world, enjoy yourself, laughter and all that. You don't want you, and if Israel was still family oriented, if they were still as a family, it would make more sense to enjoy yourself with the order, being at hand. But it says in the scriptures too, Israel make Most High's laws grievous to them. To themselves. They, instead of being happy, it says, since you didn't serve the Lord with joy and gladness, So it said jealous, keen, zealous. And that's what they basically mean the same thing, jealous and zealous and keen. From Greek, zealous, which sometimes meant jealousy, but more often was used in a good sense, rivalry, to seek, request, desire. So a man desires a woman a certain way. He seeks a woman to be a certain way, to dress a certain way, to talk a certain way. They have that, like when these dating games used to be out, they have it on apps now, like dating apps. What kind of woman are you looking for? They ask the same thing for the woman, what kind of man she's looking for. And, this is a land of freedom. So, women venture out more than, much more than they should, desiring things that they should not desire. You know, Most High, put us up. We have a limit to things. That's why I said don't drink excessive wine. Don't be much over wicked, much over righteous. Don't be, do things in moderation. Women dress in moderation. There's a such thing as, showing too much skin, cleavage, whatever. Um, you know, Getting into your body too much, getting into your head too much. Hair's not so bad, but women have, uh, found ways to explore their hair to where they're occupied. They could be occupied 24/7 with it as a business, leaving the man and choosing her business over the man. Well, look, I'm making more money than you, and I need somebody that's on my equal playing ground, as make as much money as me. But when a man does make more money, then he ventures out more. He does more things, and with his money, he buys more things. And when she sees him with all that, she's like, damn, I know other women are looking at him. I know other women, and women do, because women are attracted to that. So he's gonna get more women hollering at him, and if they're pretty as hell and they and enjoyable to talk with and all that, and they seem nice and all that, he gonna want them, man. That's just how it is, and that'll never change. That's why we're gonna have plenty of women in the kingdom. That's never changing, man. Solomon had 1,000 wives, 300 concubines, 700 wives. Now we're not supposed to be burnt in our lust toward women to lose ourselves to women, give our strength to women, but we're gonna lust. That word zealous is another word for lust. Let me just go ahead and pop it up. So they used it. They turned it into desire, appetite. I just read that in the other. Well, what jealous means: pleasure, desire. To be eager. One time, playful. You know, um, there's nothing wrong with having desire for a woman, especially if she's pretty as hell. And like you get a basketball star, you get a football star, and every woman wants him in the world, or even a singer or a rapper. And every concert, every city you go to, they're trying to pull his clothes off, you know, trying to get to him. I'm gonna just waiting outside for him for 5 or 6 hours, you know, uh, coming to the limo wanting to hop in, you know. It's almost unbearable to not have these women, have those women in that status, you know. But you got to use wisdom, and that's what a lot of them don't use. I'm talking about the men when they flirt and mess with these women because they into the fame. Um, and the Most High, He said He would make us famous, you know. So those women are coming, and Jake has, even if Jake don't have a great following or attraction of women, and for whatever reason, he's going to have it. So I wouldn't even be worried about these women like that, you know. Um, Let me see. Where's that scripture? Where's the phone at? Oh, okay. Head of every man is Yahweh Shai. The head of every woman is the man, King James Version. So it says 1 Corinthians 11:3. It says, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Son of God, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, the anointed one, Yahweh Shai, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahweh Shai is the Most High, every man." That lets you know, too, that they're not the same entity. So it says the head of the woman is the man. So as long as they don't have their houses in order or acknowledge that, all over the world, even among these other nations, but Israel first, and because we are the prime nation, we're the royal nation above all nations. If they don't get that, they'll never get it right. And as far as the society how it's going down, how the dollar is being devalued, whatever, going to this digital age, I know they're going to use a lot of these women for the digital age era today. But that's going to fall too, and a lot of it's going to be strange to them, especially them knowing the truth now. There's a lot of the truth out there, and that they acknowledge. And I'm seeing more women online saying, "Damn, I wish," they look at these celebrity women like Halle Berry. She's kind of like an old school, but she's still pretty. Little Kim and some of the new ones. But the new ones are young, so they haven't really, got into like those surgical procedures. A lot of them. That's why I'm mentioning more of the old school ones that brothers may be familiar with. But women are saying, "I wish she stayed like that. I wish she never would have changed her face. I wish she never would have got surgery. I wish, she would have kept her hair natural. We were beautiful people, and and they're still doing it today. But it's certain artists I can't think of right now. But it's just it's a lot lost with Israel. A value, how they value themselves. The moral status of Israel is low, and with these women too. So, if they don't understand the order, and even acknowledging too that men can have more than one woman, because you gotta accept that. I mean, it's the truth. It's according to the Bible. Now, your man might not desire another woman on this side. I mean, he might, want one woman. And that's cool too, but you still have to acknowledge that that he could if he wanted to. That's in the Bible. It's true. So, that's how far they'll go. That they'll be a lesbian, a dyke, a butch, before they have a man over them, and that's it's going to end up worse for them than it is better, much worse. And a lot of them, you think them dykes and them butches and them lesbians, they're going to be protected in that day, And then, women try to be with a butch, a regular pretty so-called, I guess, lesbian, whatever, or, that got into that or curious, and then she wants a dyke or a butch that kind of, look like a man, kind of, represents herself in some kind of fashion as the tougher gender, even though they're the same gender. She goes from them, but then they treat her bad. They act just like niggas, and they say, "Well, I'm tired of this relationship. I'm gonna just go to a woman." And it's still the same with women. Women, so they call it cheating. Well, it is. I mean, it's more That's acceptable more than adultery because a lesbian not even supposed to be. But the women cheat on women. It's all the same. You know, it's all, and they'll go out there and play the field, play in the snow. I mean, I think what's her name? Um, I think Tony Braxton said she wants to play in the snow, which means getting with a so-called white man. And that's just what she did. She played and she just did it for a little while, and then got with Cash Money millionaire dude, Birdman, and everybody was surprised about that relationship. But these women are being passed around in the industry because the industry holds no rebuke against that. They actually, promote adultery. So there's no way she would have been unhappy. I mean, if he's a musician, somebody like Ike, he's in the industry too. He's around stars too. You think he's gonna have multiple moments where he's able to abuse her, or even she would have? They act like she couldn't escape and all that, and she hadn't. She the power of the music industry itself is behind her, using her as a puppet artist. You know, so ain't no way that could have played out like that. Now he probably got mad one day and smacked her when she, the years before they really became famous. But when she was in that limelight and they were in the limelight together, you could tell she was happy as hell, man. She got to wear the flash the, she was known for having pretty legs or what have you, but they'll love to show their skin, so they'll get with a dude, even if he's not a celebrity, and he don't really have great status financially, they'll get with him as long as he gets to let them do what they want to do, and not complain, and let them go out and hang out and 2 o'clock in the morning at the club, and they'll even get into stripping and bring the money home to them. But those kind of women, they usually are the women that are sleeping around, you know. So it tells you about a wicked woman. She wipeth her mouth as she done no wickedness, So a lot of these women that look up to these entertainers, women entertainers, these women celebrities that they are highly influenced by, that celebrity status that these women have, they could do no wrong in the sight of their fans and their idols, worshippers, So, you'll have, if they don't see nothing happen in the public eye, they'll say, "Nah, she ain't doing nothing. She's a good woman. She's always smiled. She's always mentioned." That don't mean nothing, man. They that's what they do. They perform. They're actresses. They perform. They rehearse. And they gotta follow. A lot according to the machine industry. To bring out the best of them, so to speak, when it comes to performing songs and doing concerts and all that. So, as long as, and that's what they're gonna do. And then now they become, so to speak, celebrities themselves because they have these platforms, IG, TikTok, and all that, to where you can have a good following and become, so to speak, your own celebrity. So things are definitely different than it was, and it definitely, Most High is still overall mad with Israel. I mean, Israel is wicked, and he says he's angry with the wicked every day. I mean, that's Israel. I mean, because it's so-called white man, foremost, he's the wicked, but Israel is wicked as hell. They're even more wicked than the wicked, man, and they're little decisive methods of lifestyle that they make choices by, to where they could, go in and out of the matrix, so to speak, and still kind of, serve as a black icon, and still be looked at as a, as a great star, you know. So, and they're not going to abide by the Bible. They can't. They'll be shut out of the industry, possibly put under, like, grave wise, back to the dust. So, it's not really this real story that they put out. But, when men have a right to be jealous, man. Most High is a jealous power. We supposed to be power figures too. Money is not power, and it's not power any more than people thought it was, especially now because the dollar is, falling. America is falling. So, y'all women, y'all better start, putting yourself available for a righteous man. Quit bullshitting. Quit following